I'm not the kind of guy who writes things down. Never kept a diary. Never vented on forums. Never thought I'd have a reason to. But sometimes the story gets too heavy to carry in your head alone. So I guess this is me unloading it one piece at a time. My name's Alex Reed. I'm 40. I own a mid-sized road construction company based out of Tampa, lots of asphalt, grading, traffic logistics, DOT contracts. Nothing flashy, just hard work and good margins if you know what you're doing. I built it from nothing. Started with a beat-up Ford and a loan from my uncle. Now we've got 30 employees, 2 satellite yards, and machines with names like Hammerhead and Big Bertha that cost more than most people's houses. I'm not saying that to brag. I just want to paint the picture. I worked my ass off to build something solid. Not just the company. My whole life. Married my college girlfriend, Brooke, when we were both 27. We had our son, Noah, 2 years later. Bought a house in Brandon, just outside the city. Backyard big enough for a grill and a soccer net. 2 dogs. A golden retriever named Tank and some weird little mutt Noah picked out at the shelter. For a while, I thought I had everything I needed. Not flashy, not perfect, but real. Then one Tuesday afternoon, everything started to crack. I was in between job sites, sitting in my truck with the AC on full blast, catching up on emails. We had a late summer resurface project dragging in Pasco, and I was lining up the night cruise. That's when my phone buzzed. A ping from the family car app. We've had that app for years. I mostly use it to check on Noah when he takes the SUV to school or to flag oil changes. Nothing dramatic. But this alert was different. It said, "Your vehicle has been parked at Sankey Boutique Suites for 3 hours. Time: 12:44 p.m. to 3:52 p.m. Location: a hotel on the Clearwater waterfront." Now, I know that place. Everyone in Tampa Bay knows that place. It's one of those modern experience hotels. The kind with rooftop bars, all white linens, and a day rate for remote work types. But let's not kid ourselves, people don't go there for spreadsheets. My first thought was, that's weird. Brooke had told me that morning she was meeting some friends for lunch. Sophie and Danielle, her usual crew. "We're doing a little catch-up and maybe a walk by the pier," she said. She even kissed me on the cheek before leaving, tossed her gym bag in the back like she always did, said she'd be home before Noah got off the bus. But this didn't fit. I opened the trip log. GPS showed her leaving the house at 11:53 a.m., driving straight to Sankey, parking there, and then staying put. No movement, no detours, no pier walk. Then, she left just before 4 and drove to the gym. Something about that timeline, about the neatness of it, started making my palms sweat. I stared at the screen for a long time, willing it to make sense. Maybe she met someone for lunch there? Maybe Sophie booked a room for some kind of day spa thing? Maybe they were filming a podcast or doing one of those dumb Instagram mindfulness things she keeps talking about. I tried to shake it off, but the pit in my stomach just sat there. Heavy. Later that evening, I was back home. Noah was upstairs doing homework. Brooke was in the kitchen, humming some upbeat Dua Lipa song while she chopped vegetables like we weren't living in a crime scene. She looked tired, but in a clean post-yoga way. Fresh mascara, lip balm, that slick gym ponytail that makes her look 10 years younger. And then her smartwatch. She'd taken it off and left it charging on the counter. Buzzed. I didn't mean to look. It lit up right next to me. Just a quick glance. "Thank you for a perfect night. Let's do it again soon." No name. Just a number I didn't recognize. Out-of-state area code. No emojis. That made it worse. Cold. Transactional. I didn't say anything right away. My throat closed up. I didn't want to believe what I already knew. Instead, I asked as casually as I could, "How was lunch?" She didn't skip a beat. "Oh, it was good. Sophie's going through it with that guy again, you know, the one who wears those awful bracelets. We mostly just walked and talked. I grabbed a smoothie on the way to the gym. You'd hate it, like a wheatgrass nightmare." I nodded, smiling, pretending, because what else could I do? It wasn't just that she lied. It was how easy it came. No pause, no blink. She'd been rehearsing. Later that night, I checked the joint bank account. We each have our own for spending, but big expenses still go through the shared one. And there it was. Sankey Sweets, $177. 00 day rate. 3 charges down from her usual smoothie place. Same timestamp. I sat in my office for 20 minutes just staring at it. Not because I didn't believe it, because I did. And because part of me still wanted her to come in and say something. Anything. She didn't. Instead, she posted a video to Instagram stories. Her on a treadmill, phone balanced against the wall mirror, music blaring, sweat on her brow. Caption: clearing my head, flexed biceps, #StrongGirls. And all I could think about was how she never used to film herself working out. Not until recently. Not until she started caring about how many views she got. I didn't sleep much that night, because the truth wasn't just knocking. It was already inside the house. After that night, things didn't explode. They eroded. If you asked Brooke, she'd probably tell you we were doing fine. She still smiled in the mornings, still texted me heart emojis when I was on the road, still asked if I wanted anything from the store. Nothing outwardly changed. And maybe that was the most chilling part. Her normalcy. Like the lie wasn't just something she was hiding. It was something she'd already learned to live with. But now that the doubt had taken root, everything looked different. I started replaying the last few months in my head. Day by day, conversation by conversation. Like reruns of a show I suddenly realized had a hidden plotline. It started with the book club. She joined it 4 months ago. Thursdays. Always Thursdays. It's just some women from the yoga studio, she said. We read a few chapters, drink too much wine, decompress. You'd hate it. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? Except it started going later. At first she'd be home by 9:30, then 10 o'clock, then after midnight. One time she didn't come home at all. Claimed they all stayed at Jenny's place after someone mixed tequila with sparkling wine. She made fun of it like it was nothing. I laughed along with her. Now I realized that night was probably the test run. See if she could lie to my face and get away with it. Then there were the yoga retreats, overnight trips, supposedly in Sarasota or Naples or some beachside wellness center that charged $300 for clarity sessions. She started packing real luggage, not just a duffel bag. Wore perfume, curled her hair. I remember joking once, "Do they do hot yoga or happy hour down there?" She just smiled and said, "Both." And the phone. God, the phone. Always with her. At dinner, in the car, in the shower. If she wasn't staring at it, it was face down on the counter like it had something to hide. I used to know her passcode. One day it changed. I asked her casually why she switched it. She said, "Oh, I dropped it at the gym and figured I should update it." I didn't push. I trusted her. That feels ridiculous now. One morning, I kissed her goodbye before a flight to Tallahassee. Just an overnight bid meeting. She leaned in like always, but I noticed her flinch. Barely. Almost nothing. But it was like kissing a stranger. I pulled back and smelled it. Her neck. A faint scent I didn't recognize. "New perfume?" I asked. She looked caught off guard. "Oh yeah. Got a sample in one of those subscription boxes." I nodded. Said nothing. But it lingered in my nose the whole flight. Not because it smelled bad. Because it wasn't hers. Another time, I came home early from a site inspection and noticed an empty wine bottle in the recycling bin. Expensive stuff. The kind we used to save for anniversaries. Brooke was on the couch, in sweats, scrolling through her phone like she just finished a jog. "Have a glass without me?" I asked. She smiled, stretched. One of those self-care nights. It stuck with me because she'd made a big deal 2 months earlier about cutting back on alcohol. Said she was going dry for a while. Guess that ended without ceremony. Then there were the expenses. They weren't huge, not enough to trigger alarms. But I noticed them when I did our monthly reconciliations. Dinner charges at places in Clearwater, not her usual haunts. Boutique shops. Midday Uber rides from unfamiliar addresses. She'd started using Apple Pay almost exclusively, so I didn't catch most of it until I dug into the statements directly. The one that broke me was the safe deposit box. I was at the bank finalizing an equipment loan when the branch manager pulled me aside. "Hey Alex, just a heads up. We've noticed some transfers from your joint account into a separate custodial account. I didn't want to flag anything unless it seemed suspicious." I had no idea what he was talking about. Turns out Brooke opened a box 2 months earlier. Small, private. Listed under her name, but tied to the same checking account we used to pay Noah's school tuition. When I asked her about it later, she brushed it off like it was an afterthought. "Oh, that? I was keeping some personal documents safe. My passport, old jewelry receipts, stuff like that." "Why not just use the fireproof lockbox at home?" She smiled. "Because you keep stuffing it with manuals for the lawnmower." We laughed. She changed the subject. I let it slide. The mosaic kept building. Random pieces that didn't make sense alone, but together they screamed. I started noticing names she mentioned more often. A guy named Trevor kept coming up. Supposedly a realtor. "Met him through the charity committee," she said. "They were planning a fundraising event." I Googled him. Tall, tan, 38. Lived in a high-rise in Clearwater. No wife, no social media footprint besides real estate listings and a few top seller awards. One night, Brooke got a parking ticket. She handed it to me to pay, like always. Issued outside a gated condo complex in Clearwater Beach. Not near any venue I recognized. When I looked up the address, guess who leased the top floor unit? Trevor. That's when I did something I'm not proud of. I checked her makeup bag. Brooke never traveled light. Her gym bag always had half the bathroom in it. But tucked inside a zippered pouch under some lip gloss tubes was a dead AirTag. The battery was gone. I held it in my palm and stared at it for a long time. Why would you carry a dead tracker in your bag unless you were trying to look like you weren't hiding anything? That night I took a long drive. Ended up parked in front of Trevor's condo. The lights were on. Her car wasn't there. I didn't know what I was looking for. Just something. I left without getting out. Drove to a bar, sat in my truck, and listened to an old voicemail Brooke left me 2 years ago, back when she was planning my surprise birthday party. Her voice sounded so full of love then. Excitement. Real. Now, I couldn't tell if that version of her ever existed. The final straw, the one that ripped the mask off, came from our home intercom system. I'd been reviewing archived footage after an Amazon package went missing. I noticed a clip from 3 weeks prior. For 12 p.m., I was out of town. Brooke was home. A tall man walked up to our door, rang the bell, and stood waiting. He wore a baseball cap, sunglasses, and a backpack. Brooke opened the door with a smile, said something I couldn't make out. Then he stepped inside. He looked exactly like Trevor. That was when I knew I couldn't pretend anymore. I needed answers, not guesses, not suspicions. I hired someone. Private investigation firms aren't what you see in movies. No trench coats or dramatic music. Just a guy named Ellis who used to work insurance fraud and had a drone license. I gave him Trevor's name, the hotel receipt, the timestamped GPS logs, and a few of Brooke's book club locations. "Don't fabricate anything," I told him. "Just show me what's real." He nodded. "People usually already know. They just need permission to believe it." 2 weeks later, Ellis sent me a zip file. Inside were photos, video clips, date stamped, crystal clear. Brooke and Trevor, kissing in the front seat of his car, laughing as they unlocked a townhouse door with an electronic key. Her SUV parked in the driveway. One video showed them sitting on the patio, drinking wine under string lights, wrapped in a blanket. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just sat there watching the loop. The lie wasn't a theory anymore. It had a face, a mouth, a key to someone else's front door. There's something final about video evidence. You can debate a message, argue over GPS coordinates, talk yourself in circles about perfume or missing wine bottles. But when you're staring at footage of your wife slipping her hand into another man's back pocket while he unlocks the door to his townhouse, there's no debate left. It's done. It's real. And it has a face now. I must have watched the clip a dozen times that night. Not because I was unsure, but because I couldn't stop. It was like I needed to burn it into my memory so I'd never convince myself later that it was just a bad dream. The townhouse was in Dunedin. Nice but discreet. Looked like the kind of place someone rents for peace and quiet or privacy. A drone cam followed them from her car to the door. She used a fob, not a key. Trevor unlocked it like it was his place. Inside, the lights came on. They disappeared for a while. Then they came back out to the patio. Sat under those twinkling overhead bulbs, curled into each other like a couple halfway through a Netflix show. She wore leggings and a hoodie that didn't belong to her. I recognized all her clothes. This one was new. Probably his. I didn't show the footage to anyone. Not yet. Not even my brother, who I'd told years ago. If anything ever happens, you'll be my first call. This wasn't about sharing the pain. This was about understanding it, accepting it, letting it settle in like concrete. And it did. The next week, Brooke was normal. Too normal. She made dinner twice, which she rarely does. Sent me a reel of some hiking trail she wanted to try on the next long weekend. Started asking about my schedule like she cared about my projects again. Then, just when I thought I'd seen it all, she dropped the bomb. "I'm pregnant," she said. I was sitting at the kitchen table, reading an engineering proposal for a bridge expansion. I looked up and blinked at her. She smiled, waiting for my reaction. I had none. My first instinct was to say nothing. Just wait. Let the silence speak for me. But then she added, like it was just a bonus detail, "I've already made an appointment with Dr. Hill next week, just to confirm everything. You can come if you want." I nodded, said I'd check my calendar. In my chest, it felt like a switch flipped. Not because I was sure the baby wasn't mine, but because the timing felt strategic. We hadn't been made in over a month. Not that she ever outright refused, but it was always bad timing. Too tired. Feeling off. Not now. She said it kindly but consistently. And now, suddenly, she's pregnant? Still, I went with her. I needed to hear it. Dr. Hill is a quiet guy. Old school. Been our family OB since Noah. He walked into the exam room, clipboard in hand, glasses perched on his nose. After the standard congratulations and pleasantries, he started asking questions about symptoms and cycle timing. Then he paused, looked at his chart, and said something that hit harder than all the footage, all the texts, all the lies. He said, almost offhandedly, "Assuming conception occurred mid-August and based on your last period, Alex, the dates don't quite align for you to be the biological father." Just like that. No emotion. Just the data. Brooke went quiet. I stared at the floor. The room shrank. I didn't make a scene. Didn't yell. Didn't storm out. I just said, "Thanks, Doc," and waited for the rest of the appointment to wrap up. She didn't speak on the drive home. At a red light, she finally said, "There must be some error in the tracking." I didn't respond. I just turned the wheel and headed home. That night, I packed a bag and moved into the spare apartment we keep for visiting project managers. The small but clean, quiet. It smelled like sawdust and metal. Familiar comforts. She texted me 3 times that night. "We need to talk. I'm scared too. Please don't shut me out. Can we just pause and figure this out together?" I didn't answer, because I wasn't interested in talking anymore. I was interested in action. The next day, I activated the backup phone. Yeah, I had one. I'm not proud of it, but after seeing enough coworkers get blindsided in divorce settlements, I learned to keep copies. Not to spy, just to prepare. It was synced to our cloud account before Brooke changed all her passwords. On that phone, I found more than I expected. **TS. Voice notes. Photos of receipts. One voice message, recorded but never sent. Chilled me. "Trev, I don't know if I can keep lying like this. Every time I see his face, I feel like I'm suffocating. I just need to know you mean it, that this is going somewhere." The file was dated 1 day after my Tallahassee trip. I handed everything to Ellis, the PI. He said it was more than enough. Added it to the folder he was building. Locations, dates, footage, communications. Like a case file. Meanwhile, my accountant, Shannon, loyal as they come. Started combing through every transaction on our shared accounts. That's when we found it. Transfers out of Noah's college fund. Not massive withdrawals. Small ones. Repeated. Labeled, property consult, project loan, and once, blatantly, seed investment, TR Solutions. TR. Trevor. Of course. We dug deeper. Turns out, TR Solutions was a ghost company. Registered in Nevada. No assets, no clients, no filings. But it did have a wire address. And that address was linked to Trevor's real estate account. Shannon looked at me and said, "This wasn't just cheating, Alex. This was theft." My lawyer, Rachel, a no-nonsense shark with a calm voice and lethal strategy, took it from there. She started drafting two things simultaneously: a separation agreement and a preliminary fraud complaint. Then something unexpected happened. Amanda called me. I didn't know who she was at first. She introduced herself like this: "I'm Amanda, Trevor's wife." Or was. She was 7 months pregnant. Calm. Controlled. Like someone who'd already cried everything out weeks ago. "I thought you should know," she said. "You're not the only one he lied to." We talked for an hour. Shared timelines. Compared notes. She had screenshot *TS. 2. Contracts Trevor convinced Brooke to sign as a silent partner on a fake development project. He was funneling liability into the women he seduced. Amanda found her name on a lease she never signed. Brooke's name was on a guarantee for a bridge loan she knew nothing about. He was building a house of cards using other people's trust. Amanda emailed me a stack of PDFs, bank statements, voice memos, a calendar that showed his travel overlapping with Brooke's book club meetings. It was all falling into place. I sent it to Rachel. Her response: "He's not just a problem for family court. This is white-collar fraud. Let's bring in the SEC." By the end of the week, I had a plan. A clear, cold, precise plan. No fights. No confrontations. No how-could-you speeches. Just documents. Surveillance. Statements. Legal firepower. I was done being the guy in the dark. After Amanda's call, everything locked into place. Not just the betrayal. That was already cemented. It was the scope of it, the sheer mess of intertwined lies, fraud, manipulation, that snapped me into another gear. I'd spent the last few weeks trying to hold onto the idea that this was just a marriage falling apart. But now it looked more like a con job, a coordinated takedown that I'd unknowingly financed. And the worst part? She was still pretending everything was fine. Brooke texted me the morning after I moved out. Sent a photo of Tank, our retriever, curled up by the door. Said, "He misses you." Then added a smiley face like we were still in some minor disagreement. Like a weekend apart would fix it. I didn't reply, because while she was busy softening her image with emojis, I was already executing the setup. This wasn't about revenge. I want to make that clear. I didn't want to ruin her. I wanted to stop her. From bleeding our finances, from dragging Noah into her chaos, from letting a professional grifter get access to our accounts through her signature. If she thought she could hide behind plausible deniability, she was about to learn what paper trails can do. First step was legal containment. Rachel, my attorney, filed an emergency motion for temporary financial controls. It's a standard move in high-asset divorces, but we made it surgical. We attached hotel receipts, screenshot *TS of wire transfers to TR Solutions, the footage Ellis provided, and Amanda's statement confirming Trevor's pattern of financial coercion. Rachel called it a perfect storm. She smiled when she said it. We submitted the motion with a request for restricted access to all shared assets, immediate forensic audit of all withdrawals over $500, and a hold on Noah's education trust. Just in case. The judge approved it within 24 hours. That same day, I changed every password. Bank logins, investment platforms, insurance portals, even the damn Spotify family plan. Anything she could use to check where I was, what I was spending, who I was talking to, gone. I pulled admin rights from her email account on our company server, just in time. Our IT guy flagged multiple login attempts from her side, all from an iPad registered under her Apple ID. She was trying to access project folders labeled tenders and contracts, probably looking to estimate how much I was worth on paper. Nice try. Shannon, my accountant, started mapping out every unexplained expense for the last 12 months. She found over $11,000 in miscellaneous purchases that were mostly labeled as recurring donations, charity committee dues, yoga retreat fees, and business reimbursements. Problem was, my company never saw those receipts. We traced one vendor, listed as Wellness Partners LLC, back to a dummy PayPal account that funneled money into Trevor's shell company. They weren't just playing house. They were laundering liability. While that was happening, I sat down with someone from the securities department. One of Amanda's documents mentioned that Trevor had pitched her a joint investment property with monthly passive income. He had her sign a few pages, promised returns, sent fake reports. Same format as the ones Brooke had in the safe deposit box. I met with a regional compliance officer, handed over everything. Told them I wasn't trying to press charges yet, but that I believed at least 2 women were being used as financial mules for a fraudulent enterprise operating under false pretenses. He didn't laugh. He just said, "We've seen this before. It usually ends with someone in federal custody." I asked what would speed it up. He replied, "Get him on record making guarantees. Bonus points if he talks permits or ROI projections." So I called Ellis. Told him I wanted a meeting with Trevor. As bait, Ellis set it up through a contractor friend who posed as a third-party infrastructure investor looking for a real estate partner with creative risk tolerance. Trevor bit like a shark. Said he had a presentation deck ready. The meeting was set at a co-working space in St. Pete. I went in with a recorder in my pocket and my phone on airplane mode. Trevor didn't recognize me. He sat across from me in khakis and a blazer, tanned, smug, confident. Offered me water, smiled like we were old friends. Then he opened his laptop and walked me through a 10-minute pitch on municipal adjacent vertical development, which is a fancy way of saying luxury condos near highways. Not once did he mention permits. When I asked about the regulatory hurdles, he waved it off. "Florida's pro-growth," he said. "You grease the right wheels, and you're golden." Then he said this, "I've got private backers. Real smart money. They know not to ask too many questions. You'd be surprised how many spouses are willing to sign on the dotted line if they think it gets them closer to a second home in Naples." He winked after he said it. I didn't blink. The audio file Ellis cleaned up from that meeting was good enough to make any securities lawyer drool. He also had covert footage from the corner of the room, clear sh*TS of Trevor making claims with no disclosures, promising returns, and joking about paper-only liabilities. The SEC guy emailed me later that night. "This is actionable." Back at home, Rachel filed a petition for separate living arrangements. Not just a separation, but a structured transition that included restricted financial access, exclusive custody of Noah pending paternity confirmation, and an outline of her financial breaches. We included the prenatal report from Dr. Hill. That alone made the judge freeze all pending alimony calculations. Meanwhile, Noah was staying with me full-time. He didn't ask too many questions at first, just noticed I was around more. I made sure our routine stayed solid: school runs, soccer practice, homework, burgers on Friday. The last thing I wanted was for him to feel like his world was falling apart too. But Brooke noticed. She texted one night after finding out I'd withdrawn her access to the joint account. "Why are you doing this? We haven't even talked." I didn't reply, because talking wasn't going to undo what she'd done. The last domino fell faster than I expected. Trevor stopped contacting her. We know this because she showed up at my corporate apartment one night, eyes puffy, phone in hand. "He's ghosting me," she said. "He blocked my number. His realtor license isn't even valid anymore. I don't know what's happening." I stared at her, really stared, and for the first time I didn't see my wife. I saw a mark, a person who thought she was conning someone, not realizing she was the one being played. "You signed a guarantee on a property that doesn't exist," I told her. Her face went blank. "Trevor's been doing this to women for years. You weren't special. You were just next." She started to cry. I didn't feel pity, Because sympathy belongs to people who made a mistake, not to people who turned their whole life into a lie. I closed the door. She sat outside for a while. Eventually, she left, and I went back to reviewing tenders for the next quarter. Collapse is never clean. You think it'll be a dramatic scene. People yelling, storming out, slamming doors. But real collapse? It's administrative. It's papers sliding across a table. It's court orders served by a neutral third party. It's assets being frozen with a digital click. No chaos. Just systems doing what they're designed to do when you stop pretending the rules don't apply. The week after Trevor disappeared from Brooke's life, things started happening fast. First came the court order. Brooke was served at home, our home, on a Tuesday morning, 8:17 a.m. According to the server's timestamp. She opened the door in leggings and one of my old hoodies she'd never bothered to return. Tank barked. Noah was already at school. She signed the delivery slip with a blank face. Not angry, not emotional, just stunned, like she hadn't believed any of it would actually land. Inside the envelope, formal notification of temporary financial restrictions, a breakdown of forensic audit findings, documentation of misappropriated funds from Noah's education trust, evidence of concealed communications with a known fraudster, and a request for voluntary settlement under threat of escalation. Rachel had warned me, if she's smart, she'll fold. If not, we'll crush her in discovery. Apparently, she was just smart enough. 2 days later, her attorney, some junior partner from a boutique family law firm in Hyde Park, called Rachel asking for a meeting. They didn't fight, didn't argue, just wanted to talk options. A soft landing. Rachel gave them one. The proposed agreement was clear and cold. Brooke would retain the family home, but only because I didn't want it. She'd receive 1 year of limited financial support, capped and contingent on good behavior. No access to joint accounts. No contact with Trevor. No future claims against my business. In exchange, I'd retain full legal and physical custody of Noah. She'd get extended visitation rights, contingent on court-approved counseling and biweekly check-ins. She tried to push back on that part. You can't take my son, she said through her lawyer. But the DNA test had already come back. Trevor was the father of the baby she was carrying. That truth didn't just break trust. It severed legal ties. My attorney put it plainly. You attempted to pass off paternity to someone with deeper pockets. That's not just morally reprehensible. It's legally actionable. They didn't fight after that. She signed the papers on a Thursday, quietly, her hands shaking according to the notary. I wasn't there. By then, I had bigger things in motion. The regulators had taken their bite. The SEC called to confirm that Trevor's investment portfolio was now part of an active investigation. Turns out Amanda had sent in her own documentation too. Contracts, emails, even a voice recording of Trevor promising her a co-ownership stake in a development that didn't exist. Multiple women, multiple guarantees, multiple false addresses, and one common denominator, TR Solutions, the ghost company. The investigators traced at least 3 different bank accounts registered in Trevor's name, all funneling money through the same small credit union in Georgia. That's where they found him, staying in a short-term rental under a fake name, probably trying to line up his next mark before the feds knocked. He was detained on a Friday morning. I got the email that afternoon from Rachel. Subject in federal custody. Your materials were included in the referral file. No further action needed unless contacted by the prosecution. I stared at that line for a long time. No further action needed. It didn't feel like victory. It felt like finality. The way a book closes when you finally reach the last chapter, even if you hated how the story turned out. But it wasn't just Trevor who lost everything. Brooke unraveled too. Word spread quietly but quickly. One of the women from her so-called book club reached out to me through LinkedIn. Said she wanted to clear her conscience. I agreed to a call. She admitted there was never a book club, not even a casual gathering. Brooke asked us to cover for her, she said. She said she was going through something personal and didn't want you to worry. That witness statement was added to our court file. Brooke's social accounts went dark after that. Stories disappeared. Posts were archived. She removed her last name from her bio, took down every photo that showed me or Noah. Some of her old friends stopped answering her calls. The charity committee she used to chair replaced her name on the website within a week. I didn't gloat. I didn't post about it. I just watched, quietly, as the image she'd built for herself, devoted wife, fit mom, neighborhood darling, crumbled under the weight of truth. She moved in with her sister in Sarasota, took a part-time admin job at a law firm that had no idea who she used to pretend to be. I only know this because she emailed me once, asking for a copy of a tax form. Her email signature had changed, just her first name, no title, no family photo at the bottom. I sent her the form, nothing else. As for Noah, he adjusted faster than I expected. I kept him grounded, present. We went to his soccer games, took weekend trips to the equipment yard so he could climb on the graders and backhoes. He helped one of the foremen change a hydraulic fitting and looked up at me afterward, grinning like he'd just won the Super Bowl. "You think I could do this?" he asked. "Do what?" "Work with you, you know." Later, it was the first time I saw a future again. That night, I updated the succession plan for the company. Just a draft. But I left a note. Reserved pathway, Noah Reed, field engineering internship, pending age and interest. The house felt different without him some nights. Quiet, but not lonely, because the difference between alone and lonely is purpose. And I had purpose again. One afternoon, months later, I saw Brooke at the grocery store. She was wearing sunglasses inside, an old trick she used to mock people for, pushing a cart with half a dozen items. She looked smaller than I remembered, like life had shrunk her down. She didn't see me, or maybe she did and pretended not to. I didn't say anything, just watched her turn down the baby aisle and disappear. A few weeks later, Rachel confirmed that she'd completed her parenting class, filed a request for extended visitation again. This time I approved it. Noah deserved a mother, even if she was broken. I set the terms clearly: weekends only, no overnights yet, supervised at first. Brooke agreed. She showed up on time, didn't argue, didn't bring Trevor's name into the conversation ever again. Looking back, people assume the hardest part was the betrayal. It wasn't. It was the gaslighting, the manipulation, the way she tried to distort reality so completely that I questioned my own instincts. The story wasn't just about cheating, it was about erosion, of trust, of identity, of truth itself. But in the end, facts matter more than feelings. And the truth, once you dig it out and put it on paper, has a way of settling things. I built my life on roads. Asphalt, geometry, topographic surveys, hard materials. Things that hold weight. Things that don't lie. Now, I live that way personally too. No illusions. Just frameworks, blueprints, signed pages. And maybe that's the final gift Brooke gave me. Unintentionally, she showed me what happens when you live by smoke and mirrors. So I rebuilt. On bedrock.